Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we're going to take a look at a beer that is half English, half Danish. So for the English side of this one we're going to go to Wylam Brewery, who originate from just a little bit to the north of Newcastle, although they are now based in the city. And for the Danish side we're going to return to Flying Couch for the first time in quite a wee while, who are from Copenhagen, but for quite a while they weren't such an active brewery, but from what I gather they've been getting a lot more active recently, and the main guy Peter is kind of dedicating full time to them now, so interesting to see how they move forward actually. But this beer is called the What the Water. Wanted a crack name for a beer, I have to say. This one's an IPA and it comes in at 6% ABV. This was another one, of course, that was recommended to me by the guys at Durham Wines, or Market Wines, sorry, in Durham. And they've given me some really nice recommendations of IPAs and things like that recently. They keep quite a few beers aside for me when I'm not around, so I'm sure this one will be a good one. I'll put the link to their Facebook page in the description below, so if you are watching from the kind of Newcastle, Durham area, do make sure you go and check out some of the things they've got, because they do get new good beers every Thursday, so it is definitely worth checking out actually. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries involved here. If you want to get straight to the tasting, do just fast forward a little bit. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery websites, the link to my other reviews that I've done both from Wylam and from Flying Couch. No doubt I will add some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there both for my Danish beer reviews and for my English ones. Both are being added to it as I go along, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Wylam Brewery first off then. So Wylam Brewery was founded by John Boyle and Robin Layton in the small village of Wylam, just a little bit to the north of Newcastle, back in the year 2000. So it is actually 18 years that these guys have been going, which is quite a considerable amount of time when you consider how fast the craft beer world is moving. But both men had actually taken early retirement, and John had been a computer engineer, and he met Rob, who was a former sea captain and also quite an avid home brewer. So John fixed Rob's PC, which took a long time apparently, and they agreed that the payment for this would actually be 5 gallons of the Weiss beer that they'd been drinking. So Robin was really interested in barley wine, stouts and sours, which weren't very popular at the time, and both of the guys wanted to see these guys introduce these beer styles, if you like, introduced back into their local pubs. So they produced their first beer, which was the Landlord's Choice, in August of 2000, and the beer became very popular through word of mouth, and they had to move premises to Headon on Wall in 2006, and in 2016 they moved once again to a new site at the Palace of Arts in Exhibition Park in Newcastle. So they've got a 30-barrel brew house there, and also a brewery, tap and restaurant as well, which is meant to be really good. So that's somewhere that I really do need to go and check out at some point before I head back over to Sweden. So yeah, I definitely need to do that. But while I've been producing some really nice beers lately, their kind of core range, if you like, the Jakehead and stuff, is really cool, but they have been producing these more random beers in cans of late, which have been very, very good. You saw me review the Us and Them a little while back. There is going to be that you're obviously watching this one now, and there will be another canned beer in a couple of videos time actually, but they're fairly regularly throwing these ones out, and they do seem to be pretty good. So yeah, definitely looking forward to what these guys produce over the next little while. But if you want to learn a little bit more about Wylam Brewery, follow them on Facebook and check out the website in the description below, so make sure you check that out. But anyway, on to the Danish side now, Flying Couch Brewery. So Flying Couch Brewery were founded back in 2012 by Peter Sonne, and he was later joined by Jannik Sandhold, and who used to work for Mikkeller actually. But he was the head brewer at Nørrebro Bryghus, and also the managing director and head brewer at Halsnæs Brewery as well. And he also apparently brewed sometimes for Herslev as well. Quite well known breweries over in Denmark, of course. But Flying Couch started really as a playground project where Peter could have total control of the brewing and brew what he likes, which he said wasn't so possible working for the other companies. But the brewery apparently is named after the good ideas that Peter had when he's been on the couch. And today the company consists of 5 people. So Kasper Gerdis, Kim Christensen and Michael Arn have joined Peter and Jannik, and they also now have their own brewery, which is between Bispebjerg and Nørrebro in Copenhagen. I'm not sure exactly which one of the 2 districts that it falls into, but it's in the northwestern part of the city, and they are, I think, looking to open up a little tap room somewhere as well. So interesting times from these guys. The beers that I've had from Flying Couch before have been really quite solid. I think it was a pale ale that I had from them the first time, and I was really impressed with that. But they've got a very good pedigree degree, of course, and if Petter is dedicating full time to them, I'm assuming with 5 guys at the brewery, they are kind of going for it full time now, but if they are kind of dedicating to the brewery, of course, I'm sure we'll see some really interesting things from these guys as we go forward. But that's all you need to know about Flying Couch Brewery. Again, follow them on Facebook, and you can check out the website in the description below if you want to learn more about them. And of course, I will be reviewing some more of their beers once I head back out to Sweden, of course, because I'm very close to Copenhagen, which is brilliant actually. So anyway, that's all you need to know about the 2 breweries. Let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself. So this one, as I mentioned to you, is a 6% IPA. The hops in this one are Centennial, Chinook, Victoria's Secret and Brew 1. Brew 1 was one that I'd never heard of, so I did a little bit of research on that. So the notes that I have on it are the fact that it's from the Yakima Valley in California, and it's supposed to give you a sort of pineapple and kind of stone fruit flavour to it with a little bit of spice as well. So yeah, that's all my notes that I've got for you. Let's actually get on to the kind of tasting of this beer itself. So yeah, it also says on the back this one has a bit of wheat in the malt base, and yeah, it should be really nice. So I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. There you go. I don't know how well you can see that. I'm just checking on the camera control. Flying Couch Brewery. There's the Wylam symbol, of course, as well. And you know, all of these kind of canned beers that are coming out of Wylam these days have this kind of very similar style of artwork. I do have a yellow one. I forget the name of it that I'll be reviewing for you in a couple of videos' time. But yeah, 6% IPA with Victoria's Secret, Brew 1, Centennial, and Chinook as well. So yeah, should be a really nice one. Let's get it out then and get on with the tasting if I can get my nail under it. There we are. So yeah, you can smell some of that kind of tropical fruit coming out of this beer already. I'm guessing, just by the looks of it, that this one is supposed to be one of the New England style IPAs. The Haze for Days, as Rob from Hop Scene likes to call it. But yeah, really nice looking beer aesthetically, so let's take a closer look and see how we get on. So yeah, as you can see with this one's actually quite a pale yellow. There's a solid kind of 3/4 finger of a frothy white head, although there is some bigger bubbles in there as well. But yeah, some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, quite a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head as well. If I put my fingers behind it, you can see it is completely opaque, not really any transparency to that beer at all. It pretty much does look like pineapple juice or something like that. Pineapple juice does actually tend to be that really kind of light yellow colour from what I remember. But yeah, pretty much exactly as you'd expect from one of these New England IPAs. You can smell some of those lovely kind of tropical fruit notes coming off this one. So let's take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on. Oh yeah, that smells really nice. So with this one, there's a good bit of passion fruit in there, I think, but it's really the pineapple that is coming to the fore. I mean, Victoria's Secret does tend to give you pineapple. Brew 1, they're saying it's supposed to give you a bit of pineapple as well, so that absolutely makes sense. I do think there is a little bit of passion fruit in there as well, though. You can smell that underneath it. I think it's got a little bit of an almost apricot-y note as well. It reminds me of those little Munch Bunch, apricot Munch Bunch yogurts that my mum used to put in my lunch when I was at primary school. Definitely does remind me a little bit of that, actually. There's a wee bit of a kind of lemony citrus note, which will be coming from the Centennial, because that gives you, the Centennial can give you a really lovely lemony note to the beer, and you're definitely getting a little bit of that out of this. It smells more on the kind of hot, I guess I say the hoppy side of things, on the sort of floral grassy side of things, so the components of the hops. It's more of a grassy note that's coming out of this one, I would say, than a floral. That Brew 1 hop is supposed to give you quite a kind of spicy floral note, but on the aroma it's definitely more of a kind of lighter grassy sort of thing. It's always interesting when you find beers that have got new hops in them, because it is a learning experience. I always say that when you go through these videos, you should always be trying to learn something new, I think. For me, that's what this is all about. It is kind of a learning experience, if you like, because it's amazing over time how much kind of knowledge you can accumulate. I mean, you'll try hops for the first time and it's always quite exciting, so you get used to what you're supposed to get from the hop and then what you can get, and of course when they combine them with different things, you get a whole host of different flavours and aromas and things like that. But yeah, it's interesting that that sort of really spicy floral note they're saying that you're supposed to get from this Brew 1, it doesn't come up in the aroma, but I'm sure it'll probably come up in the flavour in that case. But yeah, in terms of the malt base of this one, it smells a little bit biscuity. Yeah, I think there's maybe a little bit, I don't know about Pilsner malt, but maybe a little touch of biscuit malt or something. But yeah, some wheaty character. Maybe a little bit of an oaty note in there as well. They smell really nice. But yeah, it's saying, I just noticed on the back of the can that it does actually say oats. So it's good that my nose is actually picking that up. But yeah, as I always say, take a little bit of time and just enjoy the aroma of it before you get in, particularly with this one, because there is a hop that at the moment isn't so common. I'm reviewing this beer for you on April of 2018, just in case you watch it a little bit later if it becomes a regular one or something. So at the moment, Brew 1, that is its experimental name. It may well change if you view this video a little bit down the line. But yeah, really nice smelling beer, so let's get stuck into this one. So this one is called What the Water Wanted, cracking name for a beer by the way, a collaboration between Wylam Brewery from Wylam near Newcastle in England, and Flying Couch, who are from Copenhagen over in Denmark. Slanja, skål. Yeah, I have to say that is pretty good. It's interesting, yeah. It's in terms of a New England IPA, the first impression is it's not quite the creamiest one you're going to come across, but the flavours go together in this one really well. It's nice, and it's got a nice tropical, juicy quality to it. The passion fruit, I think, is coming out of this one quite nicely, but you can feel the pineapple just on top of that as well. But you know, they've done a good job with this one. But Wylam, of course, do have a reputation. The Jakehead and the Double Jakehead, they're really nice West Coast IPAs. It is cool to see them experiment a little bit with the New England side of things. But yeah, that's a really quite solid beer, I have to say that. Both very good breweries involved in this one, like I say, so to be honest, it's not a surprise. But yeah, it's really easy drinking and kind of sessionable, this one, so I'm sure if that's your sort of thing, you will enjoy it. So malt base in this one, yeah, you can feel a little bit of that pale malt quality there. You can feel a little bit of that almost sweet quality from the oats right in the middle of your palate as well. There is almost a little bit of a biscuity sweetness to this one, but not overly prominent, I would say. But yeah, this beer for me, really the tropical and juicy notes are coming out of this one really nicely. You can feel a little bit of that sort of spicy quality around the edge of your tongue. It's almost a little bit peppery, if you like, which is quite interesting. So that, I do wonder if that's the Brew 1, because from what I remember, Centennial and Victoria's Secret and Chinook, of course, it might well be a little bit of the Chinook. The Chinook usually gives you a really strong kind of piney resinous character and a little bit of dark grapefruit, and you can get that with this beer as well. The dark grapefruit is almost forming the linchpin of the fruits, but then, and it lasts and it kind of stays into the aftertaste as the beer mellows out. But when you take it in initially, it's all about that kind of passion fruit and that pineapple quality that's coming out of the beer. But yeah, really smooth as well actually. It's really interesting how they've all the flavours in this one go together. The malt base is like you'd expect, as I say, a bit of pale malt in there, some kind of oaty, almost sweet oaty qualities in the first part of it. Some nice kind of, a little bit of an almost biscuity sweetness just around just as you're moving out towards the edge of the tongue, but it does become a little bit more kind of grainy and oaty as you go out as you can progress into the taste of this one. There's a little touch of earthiness in the back corners of the palate, but as you come further forward you can feel a little bit of that kind of almost dank, slightly piney resinous quality, which I'm guessing will be from the Chinook. But it is also, you can feel there's a little bit of an almost peppery quality to it as well, which I'm guessing is the Brew 1, because I don't remember encountering that with Victoria's Secret, Chinook, or with or what the other one's going right out of my head now, or with the Centennial, of course. The Centennial is more of a kind of, it's just more of a kind of straight up floral note actually. But yeah, that nice spicy note is quite interesting. As you go round the front curve of the tongue though, it does mellow out and becomes a little bit kind of lighter and grassy, I would say. But yeah, fruity side of the things is really nice. If you just go behind that front curve of the palate, that's where you get that nice oily bubble where these fruity qualities come out of the beer. So yeah, you can feel a little bit of the grapefruit just kind of underpinning this one, which will be from the Chinook, of course, and on top of that, you start to get a little bit of the pineapples and the passion fruit that will be coming out from the other hops. There is a little bit of a kind of lemony quality that's mixing with that grapefruit as well, which is the Centennial. The Centennial's got that really nice kind of dark lemony quality, and that mixes really well with the Chinook actually. So it's a really interesting combination, this one. The hop blend actually does work quite well, but it's quite interesting that they've gone for two hops that, for me, the Chinook and the Centennial, they tend to form like a really good base for a beer, I would say, and then you put some of the more juicy, fruity hops on top of that. That would maybe be how I would kind of put together an IPA, but it's interesting that they've gone for two hops on this one that usually are quite strong characters in themselves, but it works. It really does work, because you still get that kind of fruity, juicy quality, which I'm assuming is coming from the Victoria's Secret and from the Brew 1 mainly. The pineapple and the sort of passion fruity flavours in this beer will be coming from those two, and it works really, really well. So it's an interesting experiment, this one, and you know, when you're making IPAs, these ones aren't regulars from what I gather, they are sort of one-off brews, the ones that are coming out in the cans. It's a really interesting experiment for them to do, and it certainly has worked. They've produced a really solid beer out of this one, so yeah, if you get the chance to try this beer, I definitely recommend that you do. If you like your New England IPAs to have the sort of kind of more leaning towards the tropical, juicy side of fruits, this one will be right up your street. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say definitely mid-bodied with this one. Carbonation's very smooth. It's not quite a creamy mouthfeel, this one. It is quite smooth. The hoppy bitterness on this one, it does have a good little bit of that from the Chinook. And a little bit of it will be from the Brew 1, of course, as well, with that kind of almost peppery quality that it has. A lot of juicy, fruity character in it as well, which is quite nice. And the malt base has a little bit of a graininess to it as well, but the graininess kind of builds as you go further and further into the aftertaste. The aftertaste, of course, is a little bit of that graininess. Some of the oatiness is sitting there. That sort of dankness from the Chinook and the kind of peppery spice is sitting there as well. And some of the darker grapefruits, the lighter, juicier tropical fruits do kind of fade away after a little bit. But it's another really good beer. As I say, one of my favourite names for a beer that I've come across. It's What the Water Wants. So yeah, a really nice IPA, this one. You wouldn't expect anything less from the two breweries involved in this, so give it a go if you get the chance. A really interesting collaboration beer. Thank you to the guys at Durham Wines for recommending me this one, because it has been really nice. So I think that's a good way to kind of to sign off on this one. If you like tropical fruit IPAs, particularly pineapple, I think this is going to be one that is right up your street. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from both breweries, and hopefully I'll be returning to them in the near future. So yeah, the What the Water Wants, a collaboration between Wylam Brewery in England and the Flying Couch Brewery from Copenhagen over in Denmark. Slàinte just now, and I will catch you guys very soon, definitely for fans of pineapple IPAs. Slàinte just now.